What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Friday, June 28th, 2024, and I have an emergency alert to share with you guys. Right now, it is 15:32 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from the Middle East. So, the U.S. is getting ready to evacuate Americans from Lebanon if fighting between Israel and Hezbollah intensifies. This is being reported by NBC News. Apparently, the U.S. military has moved several warships, including amphibious landing ships and Marines, near Lebanon in preparation for this massive Israeli campaign in southern Lebanon. The Pentagon is moving U.S. military assets closer to Israel and Lebanon to be ready to evacuate Americans as fighting between Israel and Hezbollah intensifies, according to three U.S. defense officials and a former U.S. official familiar with the plans. The USS Wasp, an amphibious assault ship, and Marines from the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit, which is special operations capable, moved into the Mediterranean on Wednesday to join the dock landing ship USS Oak Hill and another ship in their amphibious ready group, according to the Marine Corps. The Wasp will operate in the eastern Mediterranean to be ready for a military assisted departure and other missions, the officials said. The Wasp and the Marine Expeditionary Unit are also intended to project military power and be a deterrent to regional escalation, according to a U.S. official familiar with the plan. So, this is absolutely huge, guys, and this is a sign that this war could kick off as soon as tonight or this weekend. Okay, we have now moved warships and Marines to the Eastern Mediterranean to be ready for military assisted departure and other missions. Okay, so other missions could be our Marines going into Lebanon to assist the Israelis. This is absolutely huge news, guys. And the U.S. Embassy in Lebanon put out a travel advisory yesterday. They wrote here, we remind U.S. citizens to strongly reconsider travel to Lebanon. The security environment remains complex and can change quickly. Okay. So, very, very serious. And then they tweeted this security alert Lebanon update yesterday. Says U.S. citizens should review the current travel advisory and strongly reconsider travel to Lebanon. In particular, we call your attention to the country's summary, which advises that the Lebanese government cannot guarantee the protection of U.S. citizens against sudden outbreaks of violence and armed conflict. U.S. citizens in Lebanon should not travel to southern Lebanon, the Lebanon-Syria border area, or refugee settlements. So this is absolutely insane, guys. So make sure you have your bug out bags packed and ready to go. Make sure you have a nuclear war survival plan. Guys, our digestive systems are being damaged by a potential toxin that's in all of the so called healthy foods that scientists have been telling us to eat with a fraudulent food pyramid for the longest time. And this potential toxin causes digestive issues, according to Dr. Gundry, a world renowned cardiologist. This is affecting millions of people worldwide. Warning signs include weight gain and fatigue and digestive discomfort and stiff joints, even skin problems. Well, Dr. Gundry explains these side effects are often mistaken for normal signs of aging because digestive issues develop usually over a matter of years and sometimes even decades. I can assure you that the damage is probably caused by these so called health foods, and it's far from normal. The good news is you can easily help fix the problem from your own home. It's very simple. You just have to know which foods are actually healthy and which contain this hidden toxin. So you can find this out for yourself at gutcleanseprotocol.com/nyprepper. That's gutcleanseprotocol.com/nyprepper. And the link is in the description below this video, because after years of research, Dr. Gundry has decided to release an informative video to the public, free and uninterrupted, showcasing exactly which foods you need to avoid. So you can find that video at gutcleanseprotocol.com/NYPrepper, and the link is in the description below this video. And sources in the Middle East are reporting that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, have begun to move thousands of their forces into Lebanon from Syria, Yemen, Iraq, and Iran. And Jordan just warned its citizens not to travel to Lebanon. And a town in northern Israel, this is the town of Metula, said that starting tomorrow there will be no entry to the town until at least Monday. No exact reasoning was provided. So Metula is like right on the border of Lebanon. Okay, and so the Metula Council is saying that no entry is allowed to the town until at least Monday. So it looks like this weekend it's going to kick off. Okay, it looks like this weekend it's going to kick off, and I will be going live 24/7 if necessary to cover this situation. And apparently, Israeli hospitals are being notified by the Israeli government to prepare for a sudden and immediate start of an all out war with Hezbollah. Apparently, this was the Zif Medical Center in Safat and the Western Galilee Medical Center in Nahariya. They received a report from the Israeli government saying that they have to prepare for a sudden and immediate start of an all-out war with Hezbollah. And we're getting some reports coming in today that the Egyptian army is massing large forces on the Egyptian side of the Rafah border with Gaza, about 160 tanks and 140 jeeps with anti-tank guns and dozens of anti-tank missiles. Wow. So I don't know if Israel is going to get attacked by Egypt. It's happened before. It could happen again, guys. Okay. And the Biden administration is set to release a shipment of 1,700 Mk-82 500-pound bombs meant for Israel, which was withheld in May after the Israeli Defense Force launched an invasion of Rafah in southern Gaza. The second half of the shipment, containing 1,800 Mk-84 2,000-pound bombs, is still under review, but could also soon be released. And the Israeli Defense Force announced that strikes were conducted earlier today against a large air defense and radar site operated by Hezbollah on the Jabal Safi mountain in southern Lebanon. And what you're looking at here are rocket alerts for northwest Israel. These were posted earlier today. So Hezbollah is still launching rockets at Israel. And I want to just turn your attention towards the presidential debate last night. CNN chief national correspondent John King said that following President Biden's debate performance, senior Democrat officials are now considering going to the White House and publicly calling on Biden to drop out of the race. According to CNN, Democrats are panicking after last night's presidential debate. And here you can see this poll. It was a CNN poll of who won the debate. 67% said Trump won the debate. So not looking too good for Biden. And Trump yesterday at the debate promised to resolve the conflict in Ukraine, but he stated that the conditions for ending the conflict proposed by Russia are not acceptable to him. Okay, so that means Russia would get to keep the land that they've already occupied, and Ukraine would never join NATO. Trump said that that is not acceptable to him. So for all the people out there who say that Trump is going to abandon Ukraine, well, there you have it. He's clearly saying that he's not going to abandon Ukraine. Okay, he's just not going to be wasting money and doing things in a stupid way. And right now, we currently have 2 nuclear war command and control planes up in the air over the United States. We have one that was in the Gulf of Mexico communicating with our submerged nuclear armed submarines there. And we have one heading over Kentucky right now. And earlier today, just about 2 hours ago, we had a sub hunter in the eastern Mediterranean patrolling the coast of Lebanon and Israel. Okay, so this is very, very serious. And there was also a NATO AWACS plane patrolling the Polish-Ukrainian border, which is very interesting. And here we have some video footage coming out of Syria showing a Russian fighter jet flying close to a US RQ-4 Global Hawk or MQ-9 Reaper. It does not appear to be armed, but the Russians are saying that this was an MQ-9 Reaper drone, which are armed drones. Now, Russia has shot down 2 of our drones already over the Black Sea. They shot one down like a year or 2 years ago, and then they shot one down a week ago. And ever since they shot that one down last week, we haven't been flying drones over there into the Black Sea. And the Russian defense minister ordered the Russian military to take prompt response measures to provocations by American drones over the Black Sea, basically telling the Russian military to shoot down American drones over the Black Sea. He said the Russian Ministry of Defense notes the increased intensity of flights of U.S. strategic drones over the Black Sea, which carry out reconnaissance and target designation of high-precision weapons supplied to the armed forces of Ukraine by Western states to strike Russian targets. This indicates the increasing involvement of the U.S. and NATO countries in the conflict in Ukraine on the side of the Kyiv regime. Such flights greatly increase the likelihood of incidents in the airspace with aircraft of the Russian aerospace forces, which increases the risk of direct confrontation between the alliance and the Russian Federation. NATO countries will be responsible for this. Okay, so this is very, very serious, guys. The Russian Minister of Defense ordering his military to shoot down American drones over the Black Sea. And the Russians are blaming our drones on this Crimea attack that occurred last week on the beach in Crimea, where over 100 Russian civilians were injured when Ukraine launched an ATACMS into Crimea and Russia attempted to intercept it. And the fragments came raining down on this beach and injured dozens and dozens of beachgoers. Okay, but Russia is blaming us and NATO for sending our drones there. And Russia could start producing previously banned mid-range missiles, President Vladimir Putin said on Friday. He said the U.S. had recently sent mid-range missiles able to strike targets at a range of 300 to 3,400 miles to Denmark for training exercises. We need to react to this and make decisions about what we should do next in this area. It seems that we need to start producing these strike systems, Putin said. And then, based on the reality of the actual situation, make decisions about where to deploy them for our security, he said. Such missiles capable of carrying nuclear warheads were previously banned under the Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty, but Washington terminated the deal in 2019, blaming Russia for not complying with its terms. At the time, Putin said Russia would stick to a production moratorium. So Putin is basically lying here because they already deployed mid-range missiles back when Trump was president, and that's why Trump pulled out of the INF treaty, because he had intelligence showing that Russia was deploying these long-range ground-launched cruise missile systems, the SS-9 Screwdriver, okay, which is a 2,000-mile ground-launched cruise missile that can hit anywhere in Europe. They already have been deploying it, and Trump pulled out of that deal, but Putin is now basically saying that they're going to start deploying more of them. And the Ukrainian prime minister said that Germany, Romania, and the Netherlands will each transfer one Patriot air defense battery to Ukraine. Additionally, Italy will transfer a second SAMP-T battery, and this is in addition to the 8 Patriot batteries that Israel is promising to give to Ukraine. And the Belarusian Defense Ministry said on June 28th that it was beefing up security at the border with Ukraine after a series of alleged incidents. The Belarus border guard claimed earlier in the day that border police had intercepted a drone that had crossed into the country from Ukraine in order to obtain information about Belarusian border infrastructure. The claim followed allegations made earlier in the week that Belarusian border guards had found explosive components by the border and had received information about pro-Ukrainian Russian fighters in a nearby area. And a Ukrainian drone attacked an oil depot in the Michurinsk district of the Tambov region in Russia. That's pretty deep into Russia. And Ukrainian military sources are reporting today that Ukraine destroyed a Russian S-500 air defense system in Crimea with ATACMS. And Russia attacked a residential 9-story building in the Ukrainian city of Dnipropetrovsk. And Armenia received an invitation from the U.S. to the NATO summit in July, and apparently Armenia is now going to be attending. The U.S. has confirmed that Armenia will be participating at the NATO summit. Remember, Armenia is still a member of the CSTO, which is a Russian alliance, which includes Russia and some of the Central Asian countries and Belarus, as well as Armenia. So this is very, very serious, guys. Looks like Armenia is going to try to get closer to NATO and away from Russia. And Spotify has removed the music and profiles of several well-known pro-war Russian singers. Okay, so pro-Russian singers that are against Ukraine and support Russia's war in Ukraine have now been removed from Spotify. And Russian President Vladimir Putin gifted North Korean leader Kim Jong-un a luxury Russian-made car that was produced by a company that imports millions of dollars of South Korean components, according to Reuters. So this was the car that Putin and Kim Jong-un were driving in together, if you remember when Putin visited North Korea. So that's Putin's gift to Kim Jong-un, and in return, Kim Jong-un gave Putin 2 dogs. And I want to just go over some flight paths from yesterday. We had a U.S. strategic bomber flying over Southern California yesterday. It was looping over the Salton Sea in Southern California for several hours. We also had a British reconnaissance plane patrolling the Black Sea, and it was flanked by 2 Eurofighter Typhoons that were escorting it. So as you can see, it was pretty deep in the Black Sea, and it was flying with its transponder off for a while, but it does appear that it was collecting information on Crimea. So this is where incidents could happen, guys. The Russians could try to shoot down one of these reconnaissance planes, which actually are manned planes. There's like a crew of 30 on these planes, and then plus you have the 2 fighter jets. Now, 2 years ago at the start of the Ukraine war, there was an incident where 2 Russian fighter pilots were following one of these RC-135s in the Black Sea, and one of the Russian pilots wanted to launch a missile at it, and the other Russian pilot was telling him not to. And apparently the one Russian pilot pushed the button, but the missile did not launch. It failed for whatever reason, but we were probably so close then to nuclear war, because if that missile had actually launched and hit the RC-135 and killed the crew, it would have been nuclear war, okay? So by the grace of God, that Russian pilot's missile did not launch, and that is a 100% true story. You can look it up. And last night we had some VIP movement inside of the U.S. We had a Russian VIP plane go from Dulles Airport in the D.C. area to Long Island. It landed at Farmingdale Airport. And the reason why the Russian VIPs are in the U.S. is for the UN Security Council meeting, which finished today. And here we have a bunch of reconnaissance planes over Korea and Japan. We had a sub-hunter plane patrolling the northern coast of Japan. We also had this South Korean RQ-4 Global Hawk patrolling the DMZ. And then we had a South Korean sub-hunter off the west coast of South Korea in the Yellow Sea, looping here for hours, patrolling these islands over here. We also had more activity here off the coast of Baja California last night. They've been going down here basically every night for some reason. I don't know why. There's been recon planes and AWACS planes and refuelers going down here, sub hunters. So there could potentially be Russian warships here or Russian subs that they're keeping an eye on. But something is in this area for them to be constantly sending these assets down there. Okay. We also had some aerial refuelers off the coast of North Carolina near Wilmington and Cape Hatteras. There's been a lot of sub hunters in this area as well. Potentially, there could be Russian subs or Russian warships off the coast of North Carolina here. And China has increased their naval and air presence in the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines. The Chinese Navy's Shandong Carrier Strike Group was spotted in the South China Sea near the Philippines. Over the past few days, Chinese aircraft and drones have been operating along virtually all of the Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone waters. They take off from air bases in Hainan Island and from bases in the Chinese artificial islands such as Fiery Cross and Subi Islands. In addition, a detachment of Chinese naval warships consisting of 2 destroyers, 1 frigate, and a support vessel was recently spotted near the Philippine island of Palawan. The waters near Palawan seem to be a new target. This is in addition to a strong China Coast Guard and China maritime militia presence, which is already the new normal, particularly in the Second Thomas Shoal, the Scarborough Shoal, and the Sabina Shoal. And we were looking at Google Earth last night on the live stream of these areas here. And the British Maritime Trade Organization received a report from a commercial ship 150 miles northwest of Yemen of 5 missiles that were fired at it and landed in close proximity to the ship. So the Houthis launching missiles at some commercial ship. And we have the tropics coming to life. We now have this tropical system here in the tropical Atlantic with 100% chance of development. The National Hurricane Center is saying that this thing will turn into a hurricane, a low-pressure system located about 1,400 miles east-southeast of the Windward Islands is becoming better defined, and the associated showers and thunderstorms are increasing in organization. If these trends continue, a tropical depression will likely form later today. This system is expected to move westward at 15 to 20 miles per hour and approach the Windward Islands by the end of the weekend, and hurricane or tropical storm watches could be required for portions of that region tonight or early Saturday. Okay, so we do have this system here that's going to turn into the first hurricane of the season. We also have a tropical system here in the Caribbean near the Yucatan Peninsula that has a 30% chance of development. It could go into the Gulf of Mexico and strengthen into something. And then we have another tropical wave coming off of Africa with a 30% chance of development. So the tropics are active this year. We're going into a strong La Nina, which favors landfalling hurricanes along the Atlantic seaboard of the United States and in the Gulf of Mexico. So please get prepared if you live in the eastern and southern United States. And we had a 7.2 magnitude earthquake last night in Peru. No tsunamis were reported. But that's the latest breaking news that I have. I will be back later on tonight with more breaking news, so make sure you're subscribed. Hit the bell icon down below so you get notified when I post these updates. Also, follow me on Telegram and Twitter. And until later on, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And this update was sponsored by My Patriot Supply. Guys, My Patriot Supply is doing a discount on their 1-month emergency food supply. And to get the deal, you got to go to preparewithnYprepper.com, and the link is in the description below this video. This is a 1-month freeze-dried food supply. It has a 25-year shelf life. Normal price is $237. They've dropped it down to $177. So that's a savings of $60. And it's all packed within 2 rugged, water-resistant buckets. Free shipping is included. $177 for 1 month of food. Where are you going to find a deal like that? They also have a general store and they're always running discounts in their general store on various prepping and survival items. They have everything from MREs, potassium iodide, to survival seeds. And to get to their general store, you got to click on the My Patriot Supply logo at the top of the page when you get to preparewithnyprepper.com. And you'll see when you get there, they have everything you can imagine. So use the link preparewithnyprepper.com to get $60 off the My Patriot Supply 1 month emergency food supply. That's $180 for 1 month of food, free shipping included. The link is in the description below this video. And also check out their general store. They have everything you can imagine prepping and survival related, and they're always running various discounts there.